あ、あ、デスクトップ音声。どうも皆さん、こんばんは。というか、おはようございますかな。はい。ユーズディアブロラボのユウでございます。配信開始まで、あと2分弱ですかね、ありますので、もうしばらくこのままお待ちください。定刻になりましたら配信開始したいと思います。その前に、もし、音声等問題なければ、お気づきの方どなたでも結構ですので、音声出てるかどうか、お聞かせいただけると嬉しいです。先日音声というより、配信できてないというトラブルがあったもので、はい、ちょっと警戒しております。どなたでも結構ですので、音声聞こえてましたら、お知らせいただけると嬉しいです。はい、チャット欄に書き込むの多少勇気いると思うので。ナイヤさんおはようございます。今のところ大丈夫ですよということでありがとうございます。とっても助かります。はい。先日配信、4時間分配信できてなかったトラブルがあったので、はい。とても助かります。はい、それでは定刻になりましたので配信の方を開始したいと思います。どうも皆さん、おはようございます。早朝、平日の早朝で、にもかかわらず、ご視聴ありがとうございます。はい、マジです。はい、ナイヤさんマジです。はい。おっさんさんもありがとうございます。こんばんは、というかおはようございます。ユーズディアブロラボのユウでございます。このチャンネルは、ディアブロシリーズ、あるいはハクスラ全般に関わる、内容、ネタを深々と掘り下げていくチャンネルでございます。ちょっとお待ちください。こっちか。こっちを消して、ちょっと音声の調整しますので、しばらくお待ちください。今、バックグラウンドで、音楽聞こえてますでしょうか？これ、公式生配信の方の BGM なんですけれども、ナイヤさん、おっさんさん、聞こえてますでしょうか？大丈夫ですね。じゃあ、一旦こちらの、BGM をカットします。こうすればいいかな。はい。こうして、はい。それでは、配信の方を続けていきたいと思います。今日はですね、画面の、右上の方にも書いてあるんですけれども、Diablo IV のシーズン3、キャンプファイアチャットのライブリアクションの方を、生配信でお届けしたいと思います。で、すでに、概要は公開されているんですけれども、まず、出演者の方が、司会のアダム・フレッチャーですね。コミュニティマネージャーのアダム・フレッチャー。それとあと、開発者のジョー・パイピオーラ。それとあと、アダム・ジャクソン。 それとあとゲストとして配信者の中からマクロバイオボーイとアンナケーキライブですね。このお二人がゲストとして登壇するということです。おっさんさん。ただ公式配信側になっているのかわかりませんが、じりじりって感じのノイズが入っているということですね。わかりました。ちょっと気をつけてみます。で、サクさんおはこんばんはということで、はい、おはようございます。お三方とも、いつもありがとうございます。ですね。それでは、結構、30分前、1時間前にしてもよかったかななんて思うくらい、ちょっと内容がタイトなので、簡単に、今日の注目点を挙げていきたいと思います。まず最初にお断りしなくちゃいけないのは、ガントレットと、少々お待ちください。ブラウザーの方かな。今日、詳細が公開される予定のガントレットとトライアルという2つですね。これがどういうものなのかっていうことに対する日本語でのその詳細が発表されてないので、ちょっと訳語の選定とかに、困ってる部分があります。例えばですね、今までこのガントレットのことを試練場と言ってたんですけれども、ここで新しくトライアルというのが出てきてて、このトライアルっていうのが文字通り試練っていう意味なんですよね。なので、こっちの方が実は試練場で、こっちが審判なのかな、ガントレットの方が審判なのかなと、そういう疑惑も出てきました。なので、どちらの方を試練場と呼んでいいのかっていうのが、ちょっと困ってるところですね。はい。公式配信の音を止めたらノイズが消えたので、公式配信側でノイズが乗ってるのかなということですね。はいはい。ガントレット側に、刑罰というか、ムチ打ちですね。俗に地形と呼ばれるんですけれども、ムチ打ち的な意味があります。で、そのあたりから考えても、より試練というよりは審判、もう、審判が下った状態ですけれども、はい。意味的には審判のが近いのかなと、はい。おっさんさんもおっしゃってるように、私も、そういうふうに捉えてます。なので今までガントレットのことを試練場と公式で言ってたのをそのまま使ってたんですけれども、実は訳語が錯綜して、日本語訳側の方が錯綜しているような感じが若干します。で、今日の配信ではですね、一応トライアルの方を試練場で、ガントレットの方を審判というふうに、訳出していく、ことにしようと思っています。それ以外のことに関しては、もうとにかく訳語が公開されてないので、まだ未公開の状態なので、ちょっと今日は手こずる可能性があるかと思います。はい。で、ガントレットとそのトライアルの方はそんな感じなんですけれども、少々お待ちください。はい。ミッドシーズンパッチ、のバランス調整ですね。バランス調整の方に関しては、ある程度、こちらで、内容を予測しながら閲覧、視聴することができるかなというふうに思っています。で、はい、これが、今画面に表示しているのがミッドシーズンパッチ、1月の半ば頃にあった開発者アップデート配信、生配信で、アダム・ジャクソンが出したスライドですね。で、このままで、だとちょっと見づらいと思うので、これをちょっと日本語訳しました。それがこんな感じですね。 はい。シーズン半ばのパッチ。シーズン頭のパッチとシーズン半ばのパッチ、で分けてあって、そのうちの、今回はシーズン半ばのパッチということで、今現在、そうですね。ちょうど今日の話題がこれに該当するものになるだろうと。で、シーズン半ばのパッチでどんなものが取り上げられるのか、どんな方針で、バランス調整がされるのかということに関してアダム・ジャクソンの話があったので、それを、ダイジェストでというか、ざっくり取り上げて、いきます。まず前シーズンで好評だった要素を、シーズン半ばのパッチで、取り上げる可能性があるということですね。で、例えばっていうことで、例としてマリグナントの指輪ですね。シーズン1で、好評だった、マリグナントの心臓の中でも好評だった要素を、ものを、マリグナントの指輪という形で、復活させたと。そういう事例、ですね。が、一つの例になるかと思います。で、これは、レジェンダリー、化身、の形を取ったり、ユニークアイテムの形を取ったり、あるいはそれ以外の、そうですね、レジェンダリーノードですか、パラゴンノードとか、そういう形を取ることもあり得るんじゃないかということで、で、各クラス一つずつ、何かしら、用意すると、そういう形になるだろうというふうに言われています。ただ、必ずしも一つ前のシーズン要素とは、限らないと、限定しないという話でした。で、さらにそれよりも前のシーズン、例えば今、現在シーズン3であれば、シーズン1のマリグナントですね。マリグナントのシーズンの、要素から採用する、再び採用するというようなこともあり得るんだというのが、はい。アダム・ジャクソンの話でした。で、トモハイドさん、おはようございます。眠気に耐えておりますということで、あまり無理は、されないようにお願いします。平日ですし、お体に触らない程度に、はい、頑張って、耐えてくださってありがとうございます。はい。で、そういう話でした。で、バランス調整の方は、シーズン、初頭、シーズン頭の更新と比較すると規模は小さめになるだろうと。で、その他、敵やシステム、あるいはドロップ率など、クラスバランスとは別の、そのクラス以外のバランス調整をも含みますよという話でした。で、他に、各クラスに幾分かの強化を加える。ただし、これはですね、この点に関しては、今までの事例からすると、主に使われていないスキルにバフをかけるというような感じで、あまりインパクトの大きい強化にはおそらくならないだろうというふうに踏んでいます。はい。他にはバグ潰しですね。これは、強化だったり弱体化だったり、どちらの要素を含むこともあり得るよという話でした。で、最後がバグのケースを除いて、クラスバランスで弱体化は基本的にシーズン半ばのパッチでは、クラスバランス調整で基本的にナーフはしませんよと、弱体化はしませんよということですね。ただし例外としてバグ絡みのものに関しては、ナーフすることもあり得る、弱体化することもあり得るという話でした。はい。毒追ブレですね。はい。ローグの、一頃、猛威を振るっていた、毒追ブレのビルドが大幅にこのシーズン3でナーフされて、で、それにもうちょっと救いが欲しいということですね。で、そのローグに絡むことなんですけれども、はい。一応ナーフが予想されるものの一つとして、このローグの武器の達人ですね。これ、シーズン1からかな。シーズン1から、結構、 バグが何度か出てて、というか、ほぼ常時、良くも悪くも、バグが続いてる状態の、パッシブスキルになります。このうちのクロスボウの方ですね、クリティカルヒットダメージが 15% 増加するというのが、まあ、よそのものを上書きしていたり、あるいはよそから上書きされたり、で、なんか、変に、ダブルディップされたり、なんていうことで、結構、いろいろ、点々と、バグが違う要因のバグが続いてる状態です。で、これが今、ローグが、とんでもない火力を出している、原因になっているので、で、本来であればナーフされずに、シーズン3の最後までこのまま突っ走らせる、要素になるんだろうなとは思うんですけれども、試練場ですか？試練場もしくは審判どちらかわかりませんけれども、そういうリーダーボードですね。リーダーボードを導入するコンテンツが入るタイミングだということもあって、まあ、その意味で、ナーフされるというか、バグが潰されるというか、そういう可能性を、持ったスキルというか、そういう可能性はちょっと頭の中に入れておかなくちゃいけないかなというふうに思っています。そうですね。見通しとしては、クラスバランス調整の見通しとしては、だいたいそんな感じになるかなと思っています。まあ、あとは、ガントレットとトライアルの、まあ、デモプレイみたいなのが入るようなので、で、そこでマクロバイオボーイとか、アンナケーキライブとか、そういった配信者が、コメントを、入れるということのようなので、まあ、そこら辺もちょっと見どころになるかなというふうに思っています。もっとも、今回ですね、画面の右上に、出演者出してるんですけれども、ジョー・パイピオーラもアダム・ジャクソンもマクロバイオボーイもみんな早口なんですよね。早口でまくし立てる方なのでその意味で、翻訳をするタイミングを見つけるのが結構大変かなというふうに予想しています。なかなかちょっとタイミングを見計らってるなというか、結構、訳しあぐねてるなというふうに、思われるようなシーンも出てくるかと思うので、はい。そのあたりはご了承ください。なんとか駆け足でやったので、今46分ですか。だいたいいい感じに進行というか少し早い、進行速度になりましたけれども。ちょっとお待ちください。ブラウザーですね。はい。まあ、そんな感じで予想しております。他、今ご視聴中の皆さんの間で、何かこんな要素に注意してみたらいいんじゃないかとか、こういう要素が気になるとかいうのがあれば、はい。なるべく重点的に、拾おうかと思ってるんですけれども、特に何かございますかね。はい。一応13分あるのか。だったら、ベテランのブーツじゃない。少々お待ちください。えーっと、ベテランのブーツじゃなくて、 本当はですね、もうちょっと時間が取れたら、ディアブロ4の問題点と処方箋というのを、今まとめていて、で、そちらの方のテーマで、ディアブロ4今何が問題になってるのか、それをどうやったら改善できるのかというのを、見た上で、公式配信眺めて視聴してみようかななんて思ってたんですけれども、ちょっとさすがにこれをやるのには、時間がかかってしまうので、そうですね。特にマクロバイオボーイなんて割と、理論派というか、そういう口なので、こういうところから攻めていくのは、割と彼のコメントを聞く上では有用かなとも思ってるんですけどね。例えば、最上位のアイテムがあまりにも汎用的すぎると。ハーレクイーンの紋章なんかはもうあまりに突出している上に、とんがってるのではなくって汎用的なんですよね。で、そこがもう少しそうではなくて、なんか目的に、とある目的に特化したとんがり方とか、突出の仕方とかしていたら、もうちょっとその Uber ユニークでも他の選択肢に光が当たったかもしれないなぁなんて思ってるんですよね。あとはマリグナントの指輪なんかも、そのユニーク特性のところ以外の、普通の特性のところですね、があまりにも汎用的すぎると。で、他の要素がこの指輪に入ってきたときに、やっぱり同じ特性を選んでしまうだろうなっていうようなものばかりが入っているので、そういう意味では、次に何か特殊な指輪を作るときに、特性選びが大変になるんじゃないかなと。要は何も考えずにやったら特性がマリグナントの指輪と丸かぶりになってしまうんじゃないかなと。逆に丸かぶりにしなかった場合は使えない指輪、ゴミとか、表されてしまうんじゃないかなとか、そういう心配も若干してはいます。で、今回ですね、今回はマリグナントの指輪ではなくって、シーズン要素、全シーズンの要素は、なんだっけ。なんだっけ。ちょっとすいません。シーズン2の、シーズン2のディアブロ4の、ディアブロ4の、シーズン2の、絶望の鮮血。吸血力か。すいません。吸血力という言葉がなかなか出てこなくて。吸血力の方が、吸血力からその何らかの形で、そのアイテムになるか、あるいは、その、レジェンダリーですね。レジェンダリーの方になるか、化身ですね。化身の方になるかっていうのは、今のところ、配信見てみないとわからないんですけれども、そちらの方から吸血力から何らかの形で、シーズン要素が、抽出されるんじゃないかというふうに言われています。で、それもあって、変容ですね。メタモルフォーゼですか。メタモルフシス。はい。フォチスですね。はい。そのあたりがどういう形で復活するのかなんて、気の早い人はもう、いろいろ、噂を、していますね。はい。で、海外の方では 海外の方では今、もうあまりこっちの方面に関心がいってない状態で、もうラストエポックですね。一辺倒のような状態になっています。はい。なので、このキャンプファイヤーの、キャンプファイヤーチャットの話題を出しているのって有名配信者では、ロブとか、ドイツのロブとかくらいですかね。他の人は、言及はしてもあまり掘り下げようっていう、人は若干少ない気がしています。はい。どうなったかな？あ、ちょっとそしたら音声出しますね。
Much going on. New quest lines, new legendary items, new unique items, new mechanics.
これがジョー・パイピオーラですね。今日も登壇する
In the season of the construct, you learn
人
of a
物で
wondrous
す。
place beneath the sands of Kyrgyzstan, filled with untold treasure. Nearly all who seek this treasure never return. Those that do return are haunted, or worse yet, possessed. You seek out this place to put an end to whatever is lurking there.
Following a lead, you discover a sprawling network of
ちょ
underground
っと
vaults.
少しノイズが乗ってるかな。
A priceless apparatus built long ago
ちょっと
by
これ
the
全
brilliant
画面
mages
表示にしますね。
Zoltan and Ayuzhan of Chaldeum to shape the elements and build tools to
少
serve
々お待
humanity.
ちくださ
While
い。
exploring the network, you rescue Ayuzhan,
これでいい
only
か
to
な。
discover that the demon Malphus has taken over the loom to create its own private hell.
Malphus is a servant of Diablo. He's unlike other demons we've encountered in Diablo IV. He's shapeless, manipulates others, takes on forms other than his own.
He has possessed one of Zoltankul's prized constructs.
And you must work with Ayuzhan to explore the vaults, gain access to the loom, and defeat Malphus.
This season introduces constructs. These elementally powered monsters were originally created by Ayuzhan and Zoltan to protect and maintain the loom. Unfortunately, Malphus has taken control of them and twisted them to his liking. They're powered by various different elements, giving them different abilities and strengths and weaknesses. You'll also find them, of course, in the vaults themselves, protecting the many treasures within. As players engage with the storyline of the Season of the Construct, they're going to come across a broken version of the Seneschal during the questline. The Seneschal is a special construct that was built to command the other constructs based on Ayuzhan's and Zoltan's direction. Ayuzhan of Chaldeum repairs the Seneschal to follow your orders.
The Seneschal construct is your companion.
この進化もだいぶ今猛威を振るってるみたいですね。
The Seneschal construct has many different abilities that can complement the player's build. It can deal damage, crowd control monsters, or even support you directly by healing you or providing you a damage bonus.
結局 1.3.2 のパッチで大幅に強化されたのがさらに猛威を振るわせる要因になったみたいですけど。
As players are progressing through the Season of the Construct and they're leveling up their Seneschal, adding new abilities and improving them, they're going to find abilities that are going to deal damage to packs of monsters, to single monsters, and also abilities that are just focused on buffing the power of the player themselves, so that players have different options as they're progressing through the season.
One cool ability is Auto Defense. Auto Defense summons a magical barrier around your construct that shoots down enemy projectiles. Another cool ability that your construct has is Focus Fire. It is a channeled ray of fire that can chain to multiple enemies. Use combinations of tuning stones to transform a seemingly simple skill into something truly crazy.
Vaults are seasonal dungeons that are filled with a high concentration of deadly traps, where you can farm for the magic stones for your seneschal constructs.
そういえばこのボルトの翻訳も宝石堂とかで本当に良かったのかどうなのかっていうのがいまいち私もよく分かってないんですよね。
Players are going to discover many new hazards inside these vault spaces. You know, whether it is spinning pillars shooting out flames or other traps. Players need to stay on their toes while they're progressing through these vaults in order to stay alive.
Each vault culminates in a gauntlet of true skill. Players must avoid traps while fighting waves of enemies and a powerful elite. If you survive that, the traps will turn off and the treasure room is revealed. If you get hit by a trap, you lose 1 stack of Zoltan's warding. Zoltan's warding is a special buff players can get by interacting with the statue of Zoltan Cool when they enter a vault, if they have a Pearl of Warding. Ward-woven chests are special chests players can interact with at the end of a vault if they have enough stacks of Zoltan's warding left over. If a player has more than 1 stack, they can open a rare ward-woven chest. Those have even better rewards. This season introduces our first stationary boss in Diablo IV.
This is going to be a fight against this massive protective golem meant to watch over the vaults. The Malthus, once again, has managed to corrupt and control.
Because it's stationary, it gives us the opportunity to include some of the season's new traps into the arena. This presents a lot of unique and new mechanics for the players to navigate and fight.
The player is going to need to bring all of their skills and abilities to bear as they try to destroy and fight off these Malthus-controlled constructs. They're also going to make good use of their own Seneschal, make sure they remain upgraded in the fights to come.
それとこれです
Gauntlet is a
ね。
new fixed seed non-linear dungeon where players have a fixed amount of time to achieve high scores by proving their might. Any player who unlocks World Tier 4
ダンジョンのレイアウトが固定だという、その部分は変わらないと思うんですけれどね。で、それで、ポイントを競うと。
Same monster positions, same affixes, everything. This makes it a fair competition. Additionally, monsters within the Gauntlet start at level 100.
モンスターの配置だとかアフィックスだとかそういうのも全部固定にして、固定にするので公平な競争になるだろう。
There are solo leaderboards for each class, as well as party leaderboards that vary with party size. And of course, there are a set of leaderboards just for hardcore players too. But some players may not be ready for that type of play, so we've created goals for them as well. Each leaderboard has a ladder that you climb to reach it. Each rung of the ladder awards a seal that you can show off. And when you earn the seal of the worthy, you'll be ready
で
for
だい
leaderboard
ぶ
competition.
後ろ
Can't wait
倒
to
し
see
に
you in
キ
Sanctuary.
ャンプファイアチャット自体もそのタイミングが後ろ倒しになりましたけれども、そのリーダーボードで見られるその始まっちゃうかな。
Hello, Diablo community. Welcome to
右
another
から
Diablo IV campfire chat.
アダム・フレッチャー、ア
My
ダム・
name's
ジャ
Adam
クソ
Fletcher. I'm
ン、
the
ジョー・パイピ
community
オラ
director
ですね。
here for Diablo, and I'm joined by two very familiar faces. Regular appearing people on campfire chats. I have Mr.
もう
Adam
アダム・
Jackson
ジャク
here,
ソンもほ
their
ぼ
lead
レギュ
class
ラーです
designer,
ね。
and Mr. Joey P, Joe Piepiora, our associate game director. He doesn't like it when I say Joey P.
I don't hate it. It's just it feels like a running gag that like very few people have.
There's, yeah.
Well, now a
Tiffany
lot
Watt,
more.
our production director,
Yeah, it's
very big fans of Joey P.
Joey P on deck. Yeah, what's up?
We have a big campfire chat to talk about today. We have a lot of updates to talk about for Diablo IV. Of course, we have our mid-season update, which is coming up really soon. In fact,
モハイドさん D3 のチャレンジリフトと違うのはビルドがいじれるところですかね。なるほど。
I know it's been a long anticipated feature within Diablo 4, and that is the Gauntlet. So we'll be talking about the Gauntlet as well, and actually showcasing here, because that does come with the mid-season update next week as well. So players will be able to jump into the Gauntlet and try it out themselves starting next Tuesday. But I know a lot of stuff has happened over Diablo 4 since the start of Season 3. Just recently, we released the 132 patch, which was the one that included a way for players who actually have a bunch of Uber Uniques and want to craft Uber Uniques. They can do that by creating resplendent sparks and then being able to craft the Uber Uniques that they specifically want if they happen to find other ones and stuff. And so, but we do have a lot of new features coming into the actual mid-season update with 133. One really popular one coming back in Season 2.
パッチ 1.3.3 で、意外と結構いろんなものが実装されるようですね。
From Season 2. Yeah. So we obviously we really like being able to bring back some of the malignant powers from Season 1 in the form of the unique rings we have dropping.
マリグナントの指輪シーズン1の要素をシーズン2で取り入れたけれども、ヴァンピリックパワーですね、吸血力を、
Yeah, we'll be going over all of them and which ones we brought back and what they do. You'll be able to see all of them in a little bit here.
Yeah, so I think we have a kind of a slide to start talking about our vampiric
これですね、
Yeah, so really we've got 6 vampiric powers that are really returning from the Season of Blood. They're coming back this time as legendary powers instead of uniques. So unlike the unique rings, these are going to be legendary powers, just like any other legendary power that comes in the game. And they're not all exact one-to-one copies. They're really close to matching their previous functionality and kind of what you would expect them to do. But we brought them back in a way that's kind of evergreen, that they can be sustainable.
やっぱり入ってますね、変容、メタモルフォーシ
So the
ス。
ones we got here that are returning, you've got Accursed Touch, Blood Boil, Hectic, Metamorphosis, a fan favorite, Moonrise, and the Undying.
はい。
You can see a few of them here being played out.
Just in case if you forgot from season
それがクラス一つ一つに割り当てられるのか、そうではなくて個別になるのかが問題ですけれども、どうでしょう。
But as you mentioned, they're coming back as these
あ、
legendary assets.
化身ですね。化身の形でどうやら取り入れられるようです。
Screen cap that, figure out all the exact differences between these and what's in season 2. Largely the same, a few differences. The biggest one I think
大
you'll see
筋
in
で
the next
は
screen
同
is
じだけれど
Metamorphosis.
も、細かな変更は加えてますよと。
So now it's coming back, but it's going to increase the cooldown of your
は
evade.
い。一番左に
Yes, kind of like that.
入ってるのがメタモルフォシス、変容ですね。変容の化身になりま
Yes,
す。
very similar. So you got a little bit of a kiss curse
Yeah,
there.
that light effect, that choice for players to choose. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So yeah, next going into what our updates are, we've got kind of our generic updates here. So the first one a lot of people have been talking about is snapshotting. We've got we know
装
we've
備
put a
枠
lot
が
of
ということで、
cases
トモ
from
ハイド
people
さ
that
ん、
brought up where
確かに悩
snapshotting
ま
is
し
a
い
thing
とこ
that's
ろ
been
ですね。
reported to us, and to give a little bit of a kind of a high level view of what snapshotting is, because
あ、
not
スナ
everybody
ッ
is
プ
very
ショットの
familiar.
問題ですね。
Snapshotting is this idea that when you get a buff, let's say a damage buff,
装備を乾燥することによって、複数の装備の、特性というか、ユニーク特性なんかを保持することができる、そういうバグですね。それをスナップショットバグというふうに言うんですけれども、
it'll keep that buff going until I cancel Whirlwind because I had it when it started. And so if I keep my Whirlwind going forever, I'll keep that 50% damage buff way beyond the normal 4-second time.
もこたさん、
If the
こん
game
ばん
didn't
は。
have
おは
snapshotting,
ようご
then
ざ
it
い
would just
ま
last for 4
す。
seconds, whether or not I started Whirlwind when I had it, and
ゆっ
that
くり
would
して
be
いっ
how
てく
long
だ
I
さ
would
い。
be doing the bonus damage. So in general, when it comes to snapshotting, we want to really remove it from the game as much as we can. It does allow for some kind of cool things, but generally
コメントお
snapshotting
気
is
軽
used
に
to do really
どう
kind
ぞ
of
してください。
undesirable behavior, whether it's unequipping and re-equipping gear at certain times or using certain effects at certain times to get way more power than a player should normally be able to be. And it results in the things like people gathering up a ton of buffs and then like one-shotting a boss or things like that in
は
unintuitive
い。
ways.
スナップショットをいろいろたくさん積むことによって、ボスを一撃でワンパンするとか、そういうこと、そういう事象もあったので、
in the Gauntlet, your gear, the skill tree, and the Paragon board cannot be changed.
はい。そういう問題があったので、ガントレットの内部では、審判の内部では、スキルツリーやパラゴン、あるいは、装備、これらの乾燥、変更はできないようにしたと。はい、これ先ほど言ったやつですね。武器の達人が、ダブルディップしているっていう問題ですね。それによって火力がアホほど上がっているっていう、その問題、先ほど指摘した問題です。それも修正されるのかな？
Yeah, the Seneschal class.
Yeah, the Seneschal class.
進化ですね。Quite a few different bugs and also reduce the power of some things that were overperforming. The first one is that when you used basically AoE buffs like the Barbarian Warcry or the Druid's Blood Howl, the Seneschal would be double dipping in the amount of bonus that it would get in its damage bonus, so we fixed a bug there.
セネシャル、進化のダブルディップ、やっぱりしている問題については修正すると。チューニングストーンは調律石の方かな。
And then lastly, the Tempest governing stone was basically resulting in a situation where you could get unlimited damage bonuses by it constantly bouncing and getting more and more. And so now it's no longer going to get bonus damage and duration when it spreads. It's just going to spread and do that base amount of damage. All right, so next, let's get into the class updates. So we're going to start with the Barbarian. And again, we've got stuff for every single class. Right now, I'm sure
クラスアップデートの方ですね。まず、バーバリアン。とっても現状とっても OP だと。
You know, a lot of people really like charge, it turns out. It's a really strong skill.
Fun skill.
たくさんの人がチャージを使ってる。ただ、このチャージを弱体化する計画は今のところ予定は今のところないと。
In the game where we were nerfing a mid-season patch, charge is like right up there, and we talked a lot as a design team and made a call that we were going to keep it for the rest of the season. So, you know, we know it's really, really good, it's really, really strong, a lot of people are having a lot of fun with it.
いささか強力すぎるというのは分かっているけれども、残りのシーズンをこのままで保持することに決定したと。
But in addition to that, we've got some changes coming for Barbarian. You know, we still get feedback that a lot of their early game is kind of tough. So we're going to be buffing up a lot of their basic skills to make the game go a little bit smoother.
初期の育成過程がちょっとしんどそうなので、そこら辺にはちょっとバフをかけることにした。
The Iron Skin upgrades and the upgrade for Call of the Ancients is just getting a number increase. And Gore's devastating grip. So this is kind of a storied history in our game. Yeah, it was really, really good when the game launched. And now we brought it down quite a bit, and now we're increasing its power a little bit again to bring back Whirlwind builds. So the ranks of Whirlwind are going up from 1 to 2 to 2 to 3, and we're increasing the amount of the exploding damage a little bit there as well. So really, when it comes to what you look forward to the Barbarian, it's really everything, because we're not nerfing charge. But also their early game and Whirlwind builds will be a little bit better as well. And again, when we're going through all these updates for the classes, this isn't everything that is going in that we're showing you. You'll be able to see the patch notes very soon. But this is just a sneak peek of some of the things that are happening. So there is a little bit more for everything, I think, than what we're showing today. So next we got the Sorceress. So Incinerate is a skill that we know people have had kind of a hard time really getting a lot of effectiveness out of. So we're increasing basically everything across the board. The damage is going up. All of its upgrades are going up. So Incinerate players should be rejoicing. We've also got quite a few buffs to Conjuration skills coming in. So for people that like using Conjurations. And then also some buffs to really generically used underused passives and Paragon Glyphs. So really across the board, you're just going to see some buffs to various skills. So here again, for sword players, Incinerate and really Conjurations are the things that you have to look forward to. And next we've got the Druid, who's got quite a few powerful things coming. So similar to the Barbarian, you know, the Druids, they've got feedback that they kind of, they have a really, really strong late game, but their early game getting there can be a little bit tedious to go, so we're buffing a lot of their basic skills. We gave an example here for the Druid with Wind Shear, so you can see here the Spirit Generation is going up, the damage is being increased, and the Wild Wind Shear upgrade, which gives you more Spirit when you hit enemies, is also going up.
ただ私、ドルイドはプレイ経験がないので、ちょっとスキル名が1対1でスキル名が出てこないので、ちょっとそこら辺申し訳ないです。ペットですね。ペット、狼とか、ポイズンクリーパーとか、レイブンですね。カラス、レイブンなんかのダメージを、いくらかバフをかけましたと。これ、結構、毎シーズンやってませんでしたかね。まだ足りないんですね。
Yeah, so before it was doing like in this example at this level like 100 to maybe 400 damage, 150 to 400, and now it's going to be doing closer to 8 to 1300 damage per strike. And these things strike multiple times too, and in an AoE, so it's actually quite a bit of an increase. So really, as far as druids, your early game will feel better for pretty much every build, and then companions and especially wolves are going to be quite a bit more powerful. Next, we've got the rogue. So we've got Heartseeker and Forceful Arrow. Their attack speeds are being increased. So when it comes to basic skills, a lot of people gravitate to Puncture. It's really, really strong, it's quite vulnerable, but also you're able to stutter step, and it feels really good when you cast it.
And you're just throwing knives.
Yes, and knife throwing is cool. I can't give everyone knives
要
on
は
every
その
skill,
みんな
but
パン
I
ク
also
チ
think
ャ
arrows
ー
are kind of cool.
パンクチャー
Maybe knives on the arrows.
だと何でしたっけ
But anyways, as far as how it feels to use, the two arrow skills should feel exactly the same as Puncture. As far as how you're able to stutter step, how quickly you're able to cast them, they've been made to match.
パンクチャーに近づけたと。串刺しですね。串刺しに近づけ、なるべくその攻撃速度を近づけるようにしたと。はい、トムハイドさん、串刺しですね。ありがとうございます。
Everybody's favorite new change in season 3. We're actually going to be reducing the stacks required for bonuses from 6 to 4. So this is a buff to precision. It's really meant to help with actually the rhythm and the way that you feel when you cast it. How often you get the proc should just feel a little bit better.
プリシジョンというのが、クリティカルダメージを増幅させる、重要パッシブですね。ちょっと今日本語出てこないですけど。
They do more damage, but now we're actually adding a little bit more to it. So you can see here on the left is kind of the old version, which basically said that your arrows had a chance to split into 2 arrows whenever they ricochet. And I love that zoom in. So now on the right, firstly, it's going to increase just the base damage of ricocheting arrows from barrage. And then also they still keep that chance to split into 2, but that chance has also been increased by quite a bit. So really this legendary just wasn't very powerful.
矢が2つに分岐する確率がガッと上がるわけですね。
So look forward to really range builds I think are going to feel pretty good, and then flurry as well is getting quite a big increase. And last but not least, we have the Necromancer, and we have a lot to cover here with Necromancer, so
ネクロマンサーはだいぶ手を入れたみたいですね。特に、ミニオン、手下の、手下に対するバフダメージや、あるいはその生命力というか、ライフですね。ヘルス、その他、いろいろバフをかけたみたいですね。これも毎シーズンなんかバフされてるような気がするんですけど、やっぱりまだ全然足りないということなんでしょうね。後で、ちょうどこのネクロマンサーの担当、マックスロールでの担当がマクロバイオボーイなので、彼の意見なんかも、それこそ聞いてみたいところですね。
Feel really good. We think that the issue with minions is not just that they're not dealing enough damage, but also we want to increase kind of the cool factor and the way that you engage with them, particularly the
So we do
have quite a bit more coming in season 4 that I wanted to let everybody know about. But this is kind of a little bit of a taste of what we plan to do with
initial volley of changes.
The initial volley of changes. Yes, we have a lot coming in season 4 in addition to this.
これに加えてシーズン4ではいろいろな変更が加えられる予定だ。
One example here with a passive is spiked armor. It kind of makes sense that it would give you armor. So now it's also going to give you armor.
ネクロも実は
私全
然でもないか。
It used to be that you dealt more damage to enemies
クローズドベータの時に
now we're changing it to be Death's Advance, which really just gives you move speed. So now, generically, Necromancer players will have a way to just put 3 points in a passive and gain additional move speed more than other classes.
Great, yeah.
And then we've also got some core skill buffs, particularly to Blight, Blood Surge, and Sever. There's some number buffs, and I think even some functionality and other tweaks to make the both of them feel a lot better. So really, when it comes to Necromancer players, movement speed is the name of the game here, and also
移動速度ですね。移動速度をちょっと上げますよと、それとあと手下を強化しますよというのがネクロマンサーの中心、バフの中心になる。
So normally when we think about updates, in our last live stream, we talked about how, we kind of made a promise with you that at the start of every season, every class was going to get at least one new legendary and one new unique. And what happens sometimes is we'll have a new legendary or a new unique in the pipe, and we have a cool idea, we made a new design for something, like I'll give an example, let's say, Fireball Sorcerer, right? We have a really cool new legendary for Fireball Sorcerer that we've put in, we've play tested it, it's ready to go. But we don't have a new legendary for every other class, right? And we kind of run into this situation where we have to decide, like, is it okay to put something into the game when one class will get more than other classes, right? We tend to try and keep things mostly equal when it comes to these updates. And so we kind of wanted to hear your feedback a little bit of, would you be okay and would it be cool with the community if when we have more than, the equal amount of other classes of updates to do, that we just put them in when they're ready, or should we wait until, everybody kind of has parity on things? The other situation where this comes up quite a bit is where, like, we know that a build really needs some help. Like, I'll use Frozen Orb as an example, right? Where Frozen Orb, we want to make a new playstyle for Frozen Orb, and we want to add like 2 legendaries and a unique to really make this thing sing, right? Like, just adding one power isn't enough to make this whole playstyle work. And so would it be okay if, you see in the patch notes in the season that Sorcerer gets, 2 uniques and 4 legendaries, and everybody else just gets 1, but we've enabled this really cool thing? Or do you think it's smarter for us to just kind of wait until every class can get a cool new thing of that equivalent amount of stuff?
決心2つにユニーク4つを操作レスだけに与えて他のクラスは1つだけとかだったら公平感たっぷりって言うけれどもちょっとそれ極端ですね。極端な例えですね。
Yeah, get some feedback. We're interested in this.
Yeah, so post live stream, or I know we know that the conversations will come up regarding this specific topic, and so we'll be looking around and kind of gathering community feedback on like what you guys prefer and kind of going with that, and listening in on what you guys actually want us to do. So please chime into different conversations that you guys see related to that topic, because we'll most definitely be checking it out and paying attention. So. And this is just a small, as Adam mentioned, this is just a small piece of what we're actually including in the mid-season update. The full patch notes are actually going to be out tomorrow. So we'll end up posting all those before the weekend, and players can check out the full entire patch notes. And of course, the mid-season update includes all the Vampire powers, also includes Gauntlet, which we're about to showcase here. So it's a pretty beefy mid-season update. And just to remind people as well, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, there's a lot of things this season update. What we talked about at the beginning of season 3 is like the cadence of how we plan on doing these updates. We plan on doing pretty significant changes, of course, at the start of a season, because it's a brand new season, so it makes sense there. And then, we take the time to evaluate, and then we make pretty significant changes in mid-season updates as well, based off of feedback that we saw since the start of the season. And of course, once we get into a new season, things change again, and meta changes and class balance changes occur then. So players can expect to see that there. There is the rare occurrence, as like for instance that we'll be monitoring feedback if something does come up that is like absolutely like breaking or whatever, that we may end up making a tweak on based off of community feedback. But that is typically the cadence that we had talked about at the beginning of the season, and we just want to remind players like, you can always expect these big moments during the beginning and the middle part of the season for itself.
Correct, yeah.
Awesome. So the next thing we did want to talk about is the Gauntlet.
次はガントレット審判ですね。
の
アップデートについて、アップデートというか、まだ公開すらされてないわけですけれども。
We're going to show you guys here. We have 3 different devs that are.
We're going to show you a showcase.
We're going to show you a showcase.
Just this once.
Showcase. But we have 3 different devs that are going to be joining us, and they're going to be running through their build specifically through the Gauntlet itself. And we are joined by 2 Diablo partners, 2 Diablo content creators who are going to be commentating through this. This is AnnacakeLive and Macrobioboi. Thank you guys very much for helping us out here. And our 3 devs are going to be, of course, from like here within Irvine, so they'll be playing live here in Irvine, California. And so we actually have John Constable, who is on the engineering team here for Diablo IV. We have Liam Kerr, who's a associate class designer on the design team here for Diablo IV. And we have Stephen Stewart, who some people may recognize as Leviathan, a former Diablo content creator, or maybe still a Diablo.
リヴァイアさん。
He's like behind the camera. I don't know.
低音、極低音の黒人の開発者ですね。もともとはディアブロ3の配信者だったんですけれども、そこからブリザードに転職して、ディアブロ4の開発を担当するようになった。
Thank you so much, Adam. Hi, everyone. I am
AnnacakeLive と Macrobioboi ですね。
happy to be here today, and together with my friend Macro, I'm happy to first time see and comment on the showcase of the Gauntlet.
Hi, everybody. I'm Macrobioboi. I'm your friendly neighborhood necromancer. Yeah, Anna, this is wildly exciting. It's so great that the players finally get to get their eyes on what we're going to be expecting coming out next week. We have the Gauntlet Showcase, 3 amazing developers. These people, they're going to show you all the stops, and we're going to be able to help to kind of bridge the gap, bring you some of that information about the mechanics that are going on, what you're actually seeing, and what you can expect as well. So it looks like, first off, and I'm already incredibly excited for this because you know I'm a necro boy here. We're going to be showcasing Liam Kerr on the Bone Spear Necromancer. This is like the build I'm the most excited for, and it looks like we're actually all set to hop right in. So let's go ahead and give him a second to hop into the gameplay here.
Here we go. And guys, we just started
これが、ガントレットですね。で、ボスをまずスキップして、
proceeding into the dungeon and apparently trying to get, I already see here is the first shrine. Macro, tell me something about this shrine and about this necromancer. I know that you definitely want to share with us everything that we need to know about this necromancer.
話をマクロバイオボイに振っています。
So before I get like too deep into the necromancer, let's basically just talk about what you're looking at in the gauntlet. We have 8 minutes to get the highest score possible. Every monster that you kill, every boss that you kill, as well as some chests that we're going to see later on, are going to be dropping fruits of light. This is basically what you're getting, that heal score there on the right side. And it's speed, utility, and strategy is what we care about the most here. Monsters are going to be level 124, so this is similar to a Nightmare Dungeon 70 in difficulty. That means that you don't have to worry as much about survivability or crazy damage numbers. You need to be doing just enough to be able to kill things as you run and gun. Specifically to your question about the pillars that we're seeing here, these unique shrines in the gauntlet itself, we have 2 new additions to the game. One is going to be a shrine that's going to respawn all of the monsters in the dungeon. That's right. It's not just about getting through the dungeon as fast as possible. It's about getting through it multiple times over. Secondly, we have another shrine which is actually going to increase how much score you get whenever you complete any of those objectives that I just saw. And then right there, we actually have the return of normal shrines as well. These are going to be dropping off the bosses. Anna, what can you tell us more about these shrines and what people need to worry about strategizing with them?
Oh yeah, that's the whole, this gauntlet, it's all about the strategy. The shrines going to be always the same. They're going to appear in the same places. And
祭壇はすべて同じ場所に同じものが、スポーンするようになっていると。
Are you going to kill the boss? Are you planning to use those shrines? When are you planning to use those shrines? Once again, the shrines, the special shrines from this gauntlet, they will be either resetting all the monsters in the dungeon, and here we see our necromancer just killed the boss first time, resetted this boss, and he's going back and killing him again and getting a lot of proofs of might, increasing his score. By the way, necromancer current score is already 58k. We are going not bad. We are progressing further into the dungeon. The map will always stay the same in this dungeon. It will stay the same for a week, so you can plan your path. You can always choose your way how you will be progressing in this dungeon. And here we see the second shrine, the second pylon our necromancer touched.
So to talk a little bit more about the Bone Spear Necromancer, because, you know, I could go on and on and on about this build. I think this is basically going to be everybody's first attempt at what the best meta approach to this content is. Bone Spear has a lot of great mobility as well as ability to spread damage across the battlefield. So whether you're running past monsters and gunning back behind you, kind of training monsters along, players of Diablo 3 would have seen similar strategies in Greater Rifts, kind of bringing all of your monsters together before you waste any time actually killing them. But whether or not you're just like front loading all of your damage and blasting through bosses, then you have that shrine moving forward. Like here we have the blast wave shrine, right? This basically means that the necromancers will be able to kill as they run, not worrying about having to spend any animation time actually casting their spells themselves. And I think that this is something that people are going to want to really tune into. Not only is the gauntlet the same every single week, so literally every monster is going to be in the exact same place. Every time that you kill a monster that drops one of the keys, those are going to be in the exact same place too. So like I said before, it's not just about doing a lot of damage, being very fast. It's about picking every single time you spend any time at all, casting a skill, doing damage, or moving. And I definitely think that Bone Spirit Necromancer is uniquely positioned in this way to be able to keep that constant momentum and damage output.
移動しているか、というのが求められるようになってくると。
141k. We are going absolutely not bad. Guys, you can see in the corner there are the keys. We don't have yet any keys, but hopefully we're gonna get them soon. You probably also saw that in this dungeon there are special chests. White chests, and a little bit later I think we're gonna see also yellow chests. The chests, obviously, they have a lot of items and helping you to increase your total score. To get the keys, you need to kill some special
祭壇の中には敵を復活させたりするような祭壇もあるという話をさっきアンナケーキがしてましたけれども、それとは別に
who is actually dropping the key and probably focus on those monsters. Also, keep in mind that you need probably kill them, couple of them, to be able to open the chests. By the way, we went right back to the beginning of the dungeon and
元いた最初の場所に戻ってきたんですね。で、ボスを一番最後に片付ける。
It's really important to recognize that too. So the Tomb Lord is a boss that is notorious for moving. And if you're a boss that moves, you're basically the antithesis of a Bone Spirit Necro. Wants to keep you in a very specific place. So maybe it's not kill every single pack of monsters. Maybe it's not whittle down every single boss as you go. Since you know where the ones that are going to be the easiest for you to take out, you can make that part of your overall strategy. And running through these sections again and again, getting as much score as possible. Probably the best part about all of this, and something that like, you might not have picked up on immediately, you notice that every single time you kill a monster, like you just saw there, the score automatically flies into you. So this isn't like running a normal dungeon where you have to go back and pick up those 2 failed crystals that you happen to notice drop. Your only concern is running through this at breakneck speed, killing demons as you go. And the automatic pickup of score, the ability to know exactly where everything is, having that map fully explored, and then eventually memorizing it as the week goes on, means that players are going to continue to get higher and higher scores as we optimize our builds and as we bring better strategies and better timing, better routes.
そうですね、トモハイドさん。早くクリアするのではなくて、制限時間内でどれだけ点を取れるか、高得点を取れるか、そういう方式だということのようです。
But we're honestly seeing a really great showing from the Necromancer here. We have 1 minute left. We've just about cracked 200,000 score.
これ例えば今残り時間1分とかになってますけれども、
fantastic job showcasing what I think most Necro players' first experience is going to be walking into this content.
Oh, I can hear that you're proud for your Necromancer. And guys, we just entered the room. Guys, you saw that there were a lot of chests, but still don't have the keys. And Necromancer needs to go through the dungeon, search for the keys, probably search for the shrines, probably reset. The winning strategy here would be resetting the monsters once again, and probably you cannot open the chest, but you will be able to kill a lot of monsters and also increase the total amount, your current score. We are almost reaching 200k, really close, and we have 10 seconds left. It's good. It's really, really good for Necromancer.
Come on, Necro. Get over 200K.
ネクロマンサーとしてはかなり高いスコア、20万に近づこうとしていると。
Cleared out that part of the dungeon, going back through it and kill, you know, there's no more monsters for you to kill.
はい、19万5950点。
more about the screen that we're looking at right here.
ですね。 倒したモンスター数632体、それにエリートモンスター27体とボス7体。
All the information, and you also can see the information about what you reached, which seal you reached. And our necromancer, yep, Macro was absolutely right here. Our necromancer was showing insanely good gameplay. Seal of the Worthy. This is the highest seal that you can reach as a player. Tell us more about the seals. What you can say. I know that there are 4 of them. How are they going to work?
So you start all the way down from Seal of the Blooded and then all the way up to Seal of the Worthy. What this basically means is that just running through the gauntlet at all is going to get you that first seal, but you're going to have to crack through higher and higher amounts of total score to rank up to the highest seal. The reason why you want to do that, it's not just bragging rights, as much as the majority of this truly is, but at the end of the week, not only are you going to get a cash just for running the gauntlet every time, you know, a small amount of items just to say like, hey, good job, you spent your time. But on top of that, if you actually reach the end of the week and you've reached the Seal of the Worthy, you're going to get all of the caches for the 4 seals below that. You're going to get automatic 925 item power that can be exceptional legendaries. It can even increase all the way up to a unique. So it's a much better incentive for people who don't just care about the ego part of it. You know, they're like, hey, I participate. I want to get some out of it. You do too. And being able to get that loot at the end of the week is that nice little cherry on top.
Yeah, and I think that we are ready for our second player. We're going to be joined really, really soon by the Ball Lightning Sorceress, guys. John Constable, Senior Gameplay Engineer, going to be showing us the Sorceress gameplay, the Sorceress Gauntlet. Let's go.
次はソーサレスのガウントレット
we are
だそうで
starting,
す。
guys. We are entering once again our gauntlet. Once again, guys, the same map, the same big boss is waiting for you right now.
同じマップレイアウトに同じ
same gameplay, the same decision was made, skipping the first boss, moving further into the dungeon, trying to get the second boss, probably some
これなんとなく実況アンナケーキ解説マクロバイオボーイみたいになってますね。
This is community beloved build that in season 2, I don't know, absolutely everyone was playing Ball Lightning Sorceress.
同じように、最初の入り口にいたボスは無視して先に進みましたね。
But yeah, here we have Ball Lightning, and Ball Lightning using Tal Russia's ring to buff your Ball Lightning damage with the with the power of the multiple elements. Yeah. Yep. Here we go. One more boss is here.
The best part about, I mean, there's going to be strengths and weaknesses to every build, right? You're probably going to end up seeing a meta where there are builds that only care about clearing out the trash, that are primarily focused on getting those bosses dead and getting those shrines, because the shrines are going to give you power, obviously. They're also going to give you movement speed. I wouldn't be surprised if sneaking in some shrine duration buff onto either your amulet or your boots ends up being really powerful in the gauntlet here. That's a quick little pro tip from your boy. But there's not necessarily one right way to do this. On top of that, every class, every ladder that you're in is actually judged individually. So necromancers are going to be judged against other necromancers, sorceresses against other sorceresses, so on and so forth. So where some builds may not have the mobility, but they have the boss kill speed, or maybe they have the density clearing, but not the mobility, the exact strategy for each individual class is going to really make or break what ends up being the meta for the gauntlet, which is one of the things that I think is most interesting about this. Whereas things like the Avatar here really just pushed us to the question of how do you do the most damage and survive the most damage.
祭壇を起動させることによって、移動速度が上がったり、攻撃力が上がったり。
Great density clearing. You notice that slowed down a little bit against that boss, though. Depending on the scenario, this might be one of those builds where you basically ignore the bosses whenever possible, unless they have a particularly juicy shrine that you really want to be able to use moving through. But here we have the increased favor drops. We got the reset there, so he's actually able to pop right back into that room where he just got a shrine, kill this boss again. It's just really interesting to see what kind of meta is going to develop as we get further and further into the season.
そのリポップさせる祭壇を、起動させると倒した敵が一斉に復活するので、それによって点数をさらに稼ぐと。
And guys, gonna tell you
稼げるということですね。
hardcore players, yeah, I understand. But for softcore players, if you're gonna die, you're gonna lose the third of your score. You're gonna respawn in the dungeon. You will be able to pick up your score, but only if you will run back to the place where you died. And yeah, this is again, you're wasting way too much time if you're dying in the Gauntlet. Here once again, our sorceress.
ガントレットで、死ぬと死んだ場所から、サイドということになるので、ちょっとその前聞き逃しちゃった。死んだ時の、ペナルティというか、条件というのはちょっと気になりますね。
Yeah, so just over the halfway point, it does look like the sorceress, their natural mobility, I mean, she could teleport, right? That's obviously going to go a little bit faster than somebody running on their two legs, but already doing a really good showing. We're definitely going to crack over that 200k, probably closer to like maybe 300, depending on whether or not he turns on the turbo boosters here. But you're talking about those keys, and maybe I'm just going to spitball this while we're watching here. My mind's kind of already going crazy, theory crafting, trying to figure out what's going to be the best way here. But to be able to open up these chests, like you said, you have to kill specific monsters in the dungeon. They will drop the key. Now, there's the regular chest, there's a golden chest. Obviously, big gold chest worth more points. But the interesting part here is that how valuable is that for you in your current route is going to completely depend on where you went first. Do you zerg your way all the way up to that key, knowing that you passed by a gold chest in typical, fully optimized route? Or is that just not part of your strategy at all? There's an interesting dichotomy there where it's just like, depending on where the keys are spawning on the monsters in that week's gauntlet, maybe they are huge, maybe they're pivotal to how you can actually get the highest score possible. Or you kind of have to make the decision, a couple of seconds left in your run, you're like, hey, I got one or two keys, I see a couple normal chests coming up, I know I'm not going to be able to reach the gold chests since those are in the same spots as well. I'm going to make that mad dash, I'm going to get back up into there, get those two little chests, sure, that's like good enough for me on this run. But being able to make those decisions in the heat of the moment, or at least at first, when everybody doesn't necessarily have
通常のノーマルチェストとは別にゴールドチェストというのが、金箱があるみたいですね。今、ちょっと鍵のかかっている、宝箱がちらっと見えましたけど。
But you're not necessarily going to know how they ran through it, how they prioritize killing bosses versus the elites, etc. So there's still going to be a little bit of mystery. But at the very least, you'll be able to copy the build if you can at least see the gear that they have.
I think there's going to be a lot of mystery.
ちなみにこれボールライトニング操作ですですね。
A lot about your strategy and not that much. Yeah, your build obviously will be super important. How quick are you? How quick you can kill the big groups of monsters? How quick you can kill the bosses? But your strategy, I think this will be the key. Your path through this dungeon, this will be deciding. And yes, the leaderboard will be moving from day one, and then the very last day, someone gonna sneak in and will be the top of the leaderboard. Yep, interesting times ahead. Our sorceress, guys, closing almost.
これはスルー力がだいぶ問われそうですね。
We had two keys. We opened one chest. We opened the second chest. We are getting a lot of points.
はい。一つ目のチェストを鍵で開けて、二つ目のチェストを解錠した。
White chest and yellow chest, they both actually cost only one key to open. But obviously, the yellow chests, they are bigger, they are shiny, they are giving you way more points. So, yeah, you need to focus, you need to prioritize. If you can, prioritize the yellow chests.
宝箱によっては鍵一つでは開かないということかな。
3 seconds left.
The other thing that I just really want to hammer on here is, again, so this sorceress's score, although it's going to be a little bit higher than the necros that we just saw, not by a country mile or anything, but this score is insular to this one leaderboard. The sorceress's score is only going to be compared against everybody else running the sorceress. While you can check your ego and check against the other necromancers, that has no impact at all looking at any other class about how you're going to rank in that leaderboard, whether or not you're going to be immortalized in the halls forever if you hit that top 10 rank. But on top of that, it's not going to impact this, like the rewards that you get or anything like that. You just need to worry about what every other sorceress in this game is doing. If you're in a party, you only need to worry about what those other party sizes are doing. It's probably my favorite part about this.
214661 点、さっきのより、さっきのネクロマンサーより得点高いですね。
Seal of the worthy completion, over 200k score, 7 bosses, 39 elite monsters, 674 monsters. If I could ask for anything, I'd love to see these kind of stats basically at the end of all content in the game. Maybe I'm asking for too much, but seeing those numbers like itches some really good part in my min-max brain there.
Yeah, it's really, really nice to see actually what I accomplished, how many more demonic souls I sent back to hell.
モンスター、雑魚敵を倒して何体エリート倒して何体ボスを倒したかというのが他のコンテンツでも見られると嬉しいねっていうようなことをマクロバイオボーイが言ってますね。ただまあ、それはちょっと望みすぎかもしれないけれどもという正し書き付きでです。
We're preparing Leviathan. He's almost ready. He's gonna be joining us with a barbarian, with a Hota charge barb. I know everyone wanna see it. So he's gonna be crushing it really, really soon. Yeah,
charge Hoda Barb. That is like that's good. That's going to be season 3. Season 3 is going to be charge Hoda Barb. We could just put that up on a banner somewhere. We could take down the construct symbol and just put charge Hoda smashing through the game. No, but Leviathan is an absolute legend from the community. Fun fact about Leviathan: we actually lived in the same city for like a grip, and we just never got the chance to actually sync up.
リヴァイアさんもマクロバイオボーイと同じくマサチューセッツ州の出身でしたね。
Let's go ahead and hop into it. Enough sharing, anecdotal stories. Let's see this Hoda Barb. Big boy, big sword.
Let's see.
Let's
see.
今回はこのステファン・スチュワートが、これがリヴァイアさんという、かつての配信者で、ナインボールという方をもし皆さんの中でご存知の方がいたら、彼の、やってるポッドキャスト、ウェストマーチワークショップで、彼の相方を長らく務めてたのがリヴァイアさんですね。だからディアブロ、特にディアブロ3をやってた方だと、海外のそういう配信とか、その情報、最新情報とかを漁っている人なんかには、割と馴染み深い人物です。
These monsters are only level 124. It means that they're 30 levels lower than any tier 100 content you're doing. And I figured this guy was about to get two-shot, but he's giving up a little bit more of a fight here. Let's see. There we go, Leviathan. GG. Big channeling shrine. More mobility. This is what we're looking for in Gauntlet content. This power. Alright, calm down. We need something to be able to talk about here, Leviathan.
で、あとチャージか
No, he's absolutely smashing. He's absolutely destroying. But like this, if he's not gonna plan, he's gonna soon run out of the monsters. He needs to focus on where actually the shrines that are resummoning the monsters are.
いや、やっぱ強いですね。
Yep, he's absolutely flying through this dungeon.
ちなみにリヴァイアさんというのは今プレイしている人物です。このバーバリアンを操作している人物ですね。
He was one of the best demon hunters that there is in Diablo 3 back in the days, and now and absolutely understandable why he's smashing also on this barbarian here. And what is also really, really cool.
クラスが違うとアプローチがやっぱり違うようですね。
The map, you need to memorize where all the monsters are. You need to memorize where the shrines are.
どこにどのモンスターがいるか、どこにどの祭壇があるか、そういうのを全部あらかじめ頭に入れておく必要があると。
So yeah, guys, there's going to be a lot of planning, a lot of strategizing here.
Something interesting to note. All right, I'm going to get a little bit deep on details here. I assume most people haven't studied how shrines work in this game enough to know the numbers off the top of their head. But basically, what you're looking at is a 30-second buff that is also going to give you 35% movement speed. The cool part about shrines is that each one of them can layer on top with other unique shrines. So you could have a channeling shrine as well as a blast wave shrine as well as an artillery shrine, etc., etc. But getting the same shrine again doesn't actually do anything for you. While it's going to reset that 30-second timer, it's not like you have double blast wave and double movement speed. So when we saw that, we actually came back through and immediately killed that boss again. While it makes sense, he knows it's there, he knows it's worth a lot of good score. that doesn't necessarily mean he got the total benefit out of that single
ただまあ、重ね掛けすることが必ずしも最善策になるとは限らないっていうのは、今マクロが言ったこととは別に、踏まえなくちゃいけないところでしょうね。
As long as you can plan out how often you get these shrines, you could effectively link together a full 8 minutes of shrine buff, maybe even longer. There's so many things that you could be picking out of here, right? Stopping at individual little monster packs to make sure that you're maintaining your buffs. So even if you're not necessarily killing them or they're not high value, you know that you're going to be operating at maximum efficiency when you walk into the next room, where we always will know there will be an elite monster, or there will always be a boss monster in one of these tiles here. My brain is going crazy right now. The more that I see from this content, it's just like so exciting to have something to like really strive for in this game, right? We got the gear, we finished all of our farming, all of our grinding. What do we do with it? Well, here's what we do with it. Now we actually have something to test those builds, to re-theory craft on top of. Not to mention all the changes coming in this patch alone. I'm gonna have to rethink all the builds I was expecting to be able to bring in here. That's probably the biggest chagrin I got is, oh geez, I gotta come up with all brand new builds to incorporate the vampire powers as well as whatever changes actually come to like the core skills themselves as well.
I can hear that Macro is starting theory crafting already right now. He's
た
already
だ、これはエンドゲームコンテンツの一つであって、
We're already in the process of creating the guide how to do it. Our barbarian 270
すべてではないので、もうちょっと選択肢は欲しいところですね。
It was actually really cool. We were already saying that every character has the separate leaderboard. Also, every character, the amount of score, the total score, the amount proofs of worth that you need to earn to be able to reach different seals, also different for different characters. And this is absolutely amazing because you don't have to compete with different classes in absolutely any way. And this is great. You also have 2 players leaderboard, 3 players leaderboard, 4 players leaderboard. In total, together with the hardcore, we're getting 16 leaderboards here. It's amazing. And it's all coming already next week. There's gonna be a lot of fun here.
あと2分残してて、もうすでに23万、25万点ですね。あ、違う、23万7000点。
Basically, he is going again, repeating again his run, but he resetted all the monsters. He has here
もう軽々とネクロとソーサレスを超えてますね。
That's a secret substat that I wish we could see on this board. How many total miles or kilometers have you run through this individual gauntlet? Because I'm pretty sure Leviathan has cleared this thing out already 3 times over, and he's still got a cool minute and a half left on the timer here.
マクロバイオボーイが言うには、どれくらいの距離を走ったかっていうのもステータスとして参考ステータスとして表示できるようになると嬉しいかな。それはその通りですね。
There's nothing stopping you from going and doing this on your barbarian, doing this on your alternate necromancer, doing this in multiple group types. You could theoretically hit the top of every single ladder. If you're, a crazy master grinder like Wudijo, maybe you go crack softcore and hardcore ladder too. Why not? There's nothing stopping you from competing in as many of these arenas as you have builds to be able to support that competitive nature. I'm only going to worry about the necromancer. I don't have it in my brain to think about a single other class with how much I need to worry about theory crafting this one. But I'm wondering who's going to be able to collect the most top leaderboard spots, eating them all up.
I'm pretty sure that's going to be the new community challenge. Be able to be number 1 on 16 leaderboards. Okay, I'm wondering who that's going to be now when this content actually will be in the game. We have, guys, a little bit more than 10 seconds left. We're gonna hit 300k. Come on, find
that's what we need to see.
Someone.
He did too good. He killed everything already.
ほぼすべてクリアしてしまってる。
So close. Let's see these numbers though.
ほぼ30万点。
That's crazy. 81 monsters, 53 elites, 9 bosses. Obviously the most that we saw out of any show.
いやー、桁が違いますね。881、雑魚敵881体、で、ボスが9体。
I must say, I'm really, really excited, and I really like that you can get not only the rewards that we're getting, it's a weekly activity. We're getting the new map absolutely every single week. And we're getting the rewards in the end of every single week. We're also getting the rewards after every single run. And yep, I'm happy that the people who are probably not used by the leaderboards will be anyway tempted to try it and to see maybe the leaderboard, maybe the Gauntlet is something for them. Interesting. Really, really excited about what's waiting for us in the next week. What are you excited about the Gauntlet content?
I mean, if I had to pick just one thing, it really comes down to this idea of developing a strategy over a week. You know, we realize, right, you know, as content creators, as streamers, we have a bit of privilege here. The funny part being that everybody is going to be able to watch your strategies. If you're making videos about it, if you're going over strategies, discussing it, basically it's out there. It's open for people to be able to see. So being able to come up with these, maybe a little secret strategy, maybe you save it till just the last couple days and you actually finally test it out. That's probably what's going to be the most exciting for me. It's just this idea of it's not just about damage. It's not just about stats on your gear. It's how good of a plan can you actually create, and how well can you execute on it, which like truly tests the player's skill in a way that the other content in the game just currently doesn't offer. But I think that's just going to go ahead and do it for us. This has been such a pleasure, Anna. Thank you very much for, you know, sharing this with me. I hope that everybody really enjoyed what they saw here.
I actually hope so too. And yeah, macro theory crafter here, absolutely. Had zero doubts that you're going to say this. Guys, it was an incredible pleasure to be here. Was really, really happy to comment on our first Gauntlet. I'm AnnacakeLive. I don't know, follow, like, and subscribe. And Macro, you want to say something? You want to add something?
Yeah. And again, my name is Macrobioboi. Macrobioboi on everything. If you care, see me go try to smash the necker through this gauntlet. Thank you again to everybody. It was an absolute honor here. I think we're going to go ahead and throw it back to Adam and everybody in the studio. Hope that everybody enjoyed seeing the gauntlet.
Fletcher に戻しますと、ありがとう。
Awesome. Thank you so much, Macro, Anna, for taking us through that. Of course, our 3 volunteers from the dev team. We got John, we got Steven, and Liam for running through.
Yeah, everybody great.
Steven actually hit, actually all of them hit higher scores than they did when we were first running. They were learning the
割と3人ともプレイスキルしっかりしてましたよね。それは割と前向きな要素かなと。ちゃんとプレイテストをしてるんだっていう一つの証左にはなったかもしれません。
I know a little bit more about this space now. I can run it again. I'll do a little bit better.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and I know with we saw some questions of like players, you know, are going like, hey, because we have 3 different classes here, and again, they're all on their own unique leaderboards themselves.
Yeah, every class has its own unique leaderboard. So when you're playing, you know, Charged Barbarian for the season, you're playing against other barbarians, you know, on the leaderboard. But we also have 2-player, 3-player, and 4-player leaderboards as well for players who want to get into parties and try to compete. So we think that's going to be really, really exciting.
Yeah. And then I know in regards to rewards and stuff, like depending on the seal that you get, you'll actually get more caches, and the caches themselves offer up a 925 like ancestral that I believe is in each cache. So I believe if you get a seal that worthy, you end up getting 4 each time. And these aren't exactly like the idea of Gauntlet itself is really aspirational. So there are opportunities for players themselves to, of course, earn themselves into the Hall of the Ancients each week, and then you're kind of added onto a permanent record, you could say, put it on your resume type of thing, of for forever for each week in the Hall of the Ancients, depending on where you actually land on the leaderboards.
Yeah, we don't really want to see the Gauntlet and the Trials feature as a place where players go to try to get gear for their builds. Really more of a place where players are going to go once they've got like really good builds put together to kind of try things out. But yeah, for players who do manage to clear, for every seal that they manage to complete at the end of the week, based on their highest ranking, They're going to get a cache like you called out. And there's a high chance of unique items actually appearing in these caches as well. So you can get 925 uniques out of these. But again, these are really like, more augmenting other things you've been collecting over the course of the season, not like being the primary reason that you're going to the space in the first place.
Yeah, and we actually have a blog that's going up after the stream that actually details out all the information in the Gauntlet.
この後、配信の後に、ブログポストが公開されるみたいですね。ブログポスト、いつものように、この配信の内容に関するブログポスト、詳細ブログポストだと思うんですけれども。
Especially with these new changes that are coming with the mid-season update, the vampiric powers and everything like that. And then, let us know what you guys think. And then, post up feedback on, Reddit, forums, social media. We're going to be checking it out for Gauntlet, making
ソーシャル SNS じゃない、SNS、レディットなどなど、いろいろなメディアで、フィードバックをくれると嬉しいです。ちゃんと見るようにするから。
And there are, again, leaderboards for all the different classes, for all solo, and at the same time for hardcore as well. So if you play in hardcore and if you die in a gauntlet, your character's gone. It is hardcore for that reason. So,
ハードコアのキャラはガントレットの内部で、死んだとしても、別に特別扱いされるわけじゃなくて、そこで終わりというか、ハードコアキャラクター消失っていう扱いになるみたいですね。
Earning a exclusive like customized art print as well, which is actually pretty cool. So Gauntlet shipping next Tuesday. And
ガントレットは来週の火曜日に、日本時間おそらく水曜日だと思うんですけれども、
And we have a blog going later today with a lot of stuff posting. So, really cool stuff.
公開で、パッチ 1.3.3 のパッチノートは明日公開ということですね。
It's an update regarding season 4. And I know Joe.
シーズン4のアップデートについてちょっと話すみたいですね。
So we've been talking about season 4 a little bit, but like leading up to the release of season 3, I mentioned some things about season 4. We know there's gonna be a lot of changes being made in that season. You may recall, for some of you who've been around since the launch of the game, we had some streams after season 1 went live. We talked a little bit about some of the changes we wanted to make in season 2. We remember that, like, vulnerable damage to vulnerable targets was like an extremely powerful stat, an all-encompassing stat, really, in that part of the game. And we had to go back and we really wanted to take a harder and longer look at that, look at overpowering some other things. Try to get the game into a better place.
脆弱ダメージとかクリティカルダメージとかがあまりにも強力すぎたということで、見直しをしたけれども、
Season 4 goes well beyond like the scope and scale and changes that we made in season 2.
シーズン2で加えた変更以上の変更がシーズン4であるだろうと。それ以上の変更があるだろう。
We have a lot more planned in season 4, and the team's been hard at work for months and months working on a lot of these things inside. So season 3 came out, we had some changes with it. I think it's gone very, very well. There's a lot of really fun stuff in season 3. Season 4 is going to be responding to a lot more of the reward concerns that players have, a lot of things with regards to itemization, and other things we're not going to talk about just yet. But the news that we actually wanted to talk about today is that we're going to be opening up a Piepiora for season 4 so that we can get a chance to let the community come in and test it extensively before the content actually goes live when season 4 launches. So it'll be coming up, while season 3 is still active. The season 4 PTR will go live, and players get a chance to check that out and give us the feedback. And if they find issues and balance things,
season 4 PTR,
we'll put all that and make some changes as we go.
Yeah, and I know players themselves have been asking, hey, how can we make Diablo a better experience? We want to be a part of it. It's something that the team here has most definitely heard. As Joe mentioned, there's a ton of changes, especially around itemization that are coming into season 4. So the team here really did feel a need for a PTR for players to jump in, try it out, provide their feedback.
ものすごく変更点が多いからこそ、シーズン4には PTR が必要なんじゃないかと。
Giving us that feedback so we can make any type of tweaks and changes from our end. And I know the team here has been doing a lot of work to incorporate a PTR into Diablo 4, especially for the first time. And so what we will say is like PTR, of course, will be before Season 4 starts. We'll actually have more information here in the coming weeks. We're actually going to have another campfire chat.
もこたさん、もっとナーフするっていうことではなくて、もっといろいろテストをして、安定した状態で、シーズン4のリリースを迎えたいということなんでしょうね。
Some things will hold on, not everything, but
a huge amount of stuff. Huge amount of stuff.
トムハイドさん、怒り役。
And I will say it will be we're already talking about it and going like, wow, it's going to be a pretty beefy campfire chat coming up here in the next couple of weeks. We'll have more info soon. But and one thing that we did want to note is it is just PC BattleNet to be as agile as we want to be with the changes.
はいはいはい。PTR はPC 版のみになりますよ。はい。PC バトルネット版のみになりますよ。はい。
As I said, the team felt like, hey.
要するにコンソールはPTR には入りませんよ。
Depends on the scale of changes that we have, but for Season 4, we most definitely plan on having a PTR, and so we'll have news on that really soon. So we're really excited that players can jump in, provide feedback.
向こう数週間内に、さらにキャンプファイアチャットを予定計画しているっぽいですね。PTR というのはパブリックテストレラムのレルムの略で、要はテストサーバーを設けて、シーズンそのパッチが公開される前に、有志でその内容をテストしてフィードバックをしてバグ報告をしたりとかして、それで正式公開前に問題点を洗い出す。そのためのサーバー領域のことですね。まあ、あるいはテスト期間と言ってもいいですけれども。
Provide feedback over to us, and then we can make changes before things do go live. We've had PTRs for Diablo 2, we've had PTRs for Diablo 3, and of course now we have PTRs for Diablo 4. So really excited for that, and again, we'll be back in a couple weeks to talk about that.
Right.
We'll now jump into Q&A.
Q&A やるんだ。結構駆け足で話してたから Q&A やらないのかと思ったらやるみたいですね。
Checking out the site for all the Gauntlet information and stuff like that if we can't get to stuff.
Vlogs going live.
Vlogs going live. Yep. So I know one question that we've seen a lot, at least within the community, is regarding the changes in 1.3.2. With the crafting changes, the ability of being able to craft Uber uniques. And we've seen some feedback from players related to that, especially related to like Resplendent Sparks, how many are required for them. I know you guys wanted to talk about that really quickly.
I'll jump into this first, right? So for the uninitiated 1.3.2 in our last patch,
1.3.2 で追加された Uber ユニークのアップデートについて
and they require Resplendent Sparks to do so, and you get Resplendent Sparks by finding another Uber unique, which are very rare, salvage them, and then that gives you the one material that you need. Now, at launch, you need 5 Resplendent Sparks in order to craft one of these. In the next patch, where this is going to be, where the Gauntlet's going live and the trial system is going live, we're going to be reducing that from 5 to 4. Now, why did we choose these numbers? So, alongside those changes that we made, and as part of that last release,
Uber ユニークを生成するための素材数が5つから4つに来週の水曜日から減らされるようです。
It was exceptionally rare, as I think most players would understand, to find Uber uniques outside of the encounter of Uberdurial, which is one of the reasons why Uberdurial is so popular. We did dramatically increase that drop rate chance. It's still very, very rare, right? So you're not seeing it all the time.
劇的にそのドロップ率を上げたものの、それでもだいぶレアなウーバーユニークがレアだというのは変わらないので、
So we are seeing more of these Uber Uniques dropping across the board, as I suggested. And this is sort of us beginning to get a sense of how players are interacting with these features as we start looking towards Season 4. So in terms of like the number of Uber Uniques that are dropping, the way that players are engaging with various parts of the game overall to like farm up these items, we're seeing some changes in patterns, which is really, really cool. We just want to let things evolve a little bit and see how things proceed. And as we kind of get into Season 4, we'll be looking at making potentially further adjustments based upon reception and how we see the numbers actually doing. Yeah. We still want Uber Uniques to remain in a spot where they are very aspirational. They're not expected for every build to have them in order for them to come online and build fun. Obviously, players really want them,
Uber Unique が、
but they shouldn't be the thing
そのビルドにとって、必須のものになるほど、ポピュラーに、一般的なものになるのは、ちょっと避けたいと思っているので、そういうこともあって、5つから4つという数字を選んだということのようです。素材数ですね。Uber Unique を生成するための素材数を5つから4つ、3つにはしなかったということですね。
So I'm not allowed to talk about Season 4 today, but I would recommend that you definitely check out the PTR stream when we start talking about a lot of the content players are going to get a chance to test as part of that PTR release, because there is a lot of stuff that's going to be happening, particularly for endgame players.
There we go. There's a question regarding Gauntlet. Wink.
I said it, so that's,
So, congratulations. We have a question from Globusness. That was, why is the level difficulty only Nightmare 70 for the Gauntlet?
Yes. So we wanted to make sure that Gauntlet content felt like something players could start trying to dig into immediately upon entering the world tier 4. Why do we do this? We want players to be able to like ramp up through the content as they level up through that last world tier. And we want to see how players were going to react to it, basically, as a result of that. Like, do players ever want to try playing through it at 85? Because when you're playing through the Gauntlet, there's the seals that I think were discussed during the playthrough. The players can earn based on the point scores you're able to get. If you're crushing those point scores, you're getting rewards for doing that. And it gives you that sense of progression as you go, and you get more and more of your gear online. You find more of the uniques you need. You manage to get like you start getting your 925 items online. Like a lot of your player power can come online as you get your glyphs leveled up and things. It doesn't mean that you need to wait to level at a very high level to be able to go do that content. So we want to make it available, and we also want to focus a little bit more on how quickly players can navigate the space. Use shrines to the best effect, reset creature spawns, fight bosses, spawn bosses. We want to focus more on the strategy element of it rather than the sense that monsters had much higher hit point values and dealt much more damage as part of the run. We weren't looking to like recreate like the AOZ moment, for example, as part of the space. We want this to be a little bit faster, a little bit more approachable for players of different like gear scores effectively when they start getting and build power parity when they start getting into space.
ヒットポイント、ライフをガッと上げて、クリアスピードを競うよりも、もっと戦略的な感じにしたかったからだ。
Like AOZ was more that room. Like, can you beat it? And that's not what the Gauntlet is. The Gauntlet is about how quickly can you beat it? How do you optimize? How do you strategize? How do you change your route? It's a different thing that we're testing for players. It's not just about defeating it at all.
It's about the point score.
Yes.
Speaking of AOZ, Sparky Quark 7 asks, any AOZ content coming soon?
I just really recommend, again, check out, just
really look at that stream.
There's a lot of stuff happening in the PTR stream. I just really recommend just get a chance to check out that stream. I would recommend it.
I'm going to answer this really quickly because Shark Cohen had asked, is the P and PTR public or private? It is public. So it's if you are a PC Battle.net user, you'll be able to actually jump into
PTR は非公開なのか公開なのかパブリックテストレルムなので、当然公開だ。誰もが参加できるものだよ。
So yes, and we'll have more information on that again with the PTR. I know there's a lot of PTR questions.
I just want to make really clear, like it is free as long as you are a person who owns Diablo 4 on.
ディアブロ4も所有している限りは、もちろん無料だよ。特に追加でお金を取ったりとかすることはないよ。
Adam, will you be able to see a breakdown of individual score relative to the other people in your party in the Gauntlet? Actually, that's a good question. If you can go to the leaderboard and actually inspect players? Because I haven't done that myself on the build. So
yeah, right now it's party score. So it's totaling up the value of your whole team.
Person,
yeah.
Got it. Okay.
There is no I in team. Or party.
I guess my own sub question to that would be on a solo leaderboard. Would you be able to actually see someone's build if they have their profile not private or something like that? Can you actually pull up their character?
Yeah, you'll be able to see the skills they have equipped at the time, and you'll be able to see like their key passive. So yeah, you can't look at their whole skill tree, but like you can see a lot of information about them.
Awesome.
Because we don't talk about this, but we actually did make some updates to the profile screen. We made some updates at the same time. They'll be showing up in that release.
Imligit says, will the Gauntlet leaderboard be region locked? No, because everyone's playing technically on a global server.
That's right.
When you do play with your friends in your own region, you just tend to connect to them.
今、すごく大事なことをさらっと言ったような気がするんだけれども。
Does the companion go with you in the Gauntlet? So I think I saw this comment a lot, well, especially when Stephen Leviathan was playing through, because he was the charge barb. And so a lot of people thought he didn't have a Seneschal construct with him. No, just charge barbs just move really fast. So he most definitely was there. The construct was there and was following him.
進化が連れていけるよと、ガントレットの中に連れていけるよ。
And just so that you guys know, like, Gauntlet is a feature that is not just season 3.
先ほどパイピオーラが言った、ポロッと漏らしたことは後で、また話しますね。
Your seasonal powers and things will go into the Gauntlet. You'll be able to bring everything to bear that you can.
Yeah, we talked about this quite a bit actually, whether we want that to be the case, and we think it's more fun to allow these things to coexist.
Question from Cody4PF. Why is there minimal mob density in Gauntlet? The barb ran out of density. How am I supposed to play this with my friends? I think players, with Gauntlet is like a different type of like play style. Players will most definitely have. You'll learn the dungeon throughout that week. You'll learn that you can
1週間かけて、ダンジョンのレイアウトや、各種配置等を、覚えて、で、攻略するもの。
Exactly. There are shrines that actually bring back mobs back to life, so you can immediately get additional score. And so there's a lot of strategy involved with it.
追加得点を取るために、敵を蘇生させる、生き返らせる祭壇をどのタイミングで起動するかとか。
To benefit exactly who you killed there.
Yeah, we're not looking to make a slow-paced experience with the Gauntlet, which I think you probably saw. You saw the players getting a chance to check it out earlier. But we're also not trying to maximize density in the same way that we would in like Nightmare Dungeons or Helltide areas. You know, players aren't getting loot drops and they're not getting a lot of experience from these creatures. So that really the focus is on the player having an idea of like where they can find packs of mobs and where mobs can be found in general in the space, and navigating the environment carefully in order to like maximize their point gain during that time. And then interacting with these other things along the way. Why are you smiling?
It's just, I have a question from someone in here, but they have the most hilarious username.
I look forward to this.
I'm gonna say it, but it's hilarious.
Just go.
Bob Dole's Blue Pills asks,
very good,
any possibility of getting better cosmetics through gameplay, maybe through Gauntlet, skins on par from the shop, etc. This is actually a active conversation that's been happening a lot, especially based off of community feedback that we've seen regarding the shop and stuff. So I will say that we don't have anything to say right now, but we'll have some more news regarding some items related to the shop that we'll be sharing here over the coming weeks and months and stuff that will kind of help with some of this conversation I know that we've been hearing. Sorry, that name was just, wow. Al Quadrodia asks...
killing it over there.
I know, amazing. Adam, perfect. Where can we find new vampiric legendary aspects? This is something we mentioned at the beginning of the stream, and if for people that are just kind of getting in vampiric powers,
吸血力レジェンダリーを
tuned a little bit differently.
Yeah, some of them.
Yeah, so you'll be able to find them the same way you can find any other legendary in the game. They're just going to be random drops everywhere. None of them, just to clarify, they're not going to be in the dungeons like the Codex of Power. None of them are going in there, but you'll be able to find them just like other legendary.
力の古文書のダンジョンとかで手に入れられるっていうものではないと。
Chronics TR Nightmare Vaults were a community favorite and very awesome to run through. Will they come back after season 3?
There are a lot of really good learnings from Nightmare Vaults and a lot of the content we have in Season 3 that's kind of advising things we're doing with Nightmare Dungeons across the board. While Nightmare Vaults themselves are not immediately returning like in Season 4, for example, they are also...
トムハイドさん、そういえば今のところ審判とやらのアナウンスありましたっけってところなんですけれども、私もそれらしきもの一切耳にしてないですね、今のところ。この後のブログポストや明日のパッチノートでどうなるかちょっと見てみるしかないですね。
We've talked about it before too on stream. We really like this idea. The systems teams, the UI teams, all like the idea of doing this. There are plans for us to add it somewhere in the future, but we don't have dates to talk about yet. This is something we really like the idea of. We want to make sure that the game is, when we launched the game, we had this idea of like having some sense of like build permanence and things. We thought that was really important. Harkening back to some of the some bits in the past from Diablo 2 and other games, but increasingly as we've been continuing to build the game and receive feedback and play it ourselves, we're finding we really want to be able to embrace a lot more flexibility. You'll see some steps in that direction also in Season 4, but this is an example of a thing where it's like, well, we do, in an effort to make sure the players can kind of change the way they want to play more easily, this is a feature we'd like to support. We want to do it the right way. So this, these are things we'll continue to be discussing.
Yeah, and this is on top of some of the other feedback that we've seen from players going hey, social features and things like that. I know it's a priority within the team. They're working on things and stuff, and we'll have more info to share here soon on those aspects. I'll end on this. This one's a good one for Mr. Adam Jackson.
Sure.
Because this specifically talks about the Necromancer
Sure.
and some of the changes that are coming. This is from First Time Cheddar. Why would you guys remove damage from Death's Reach's passive? Is that contrary to the no nerfs policy you had mentioned for mid-season updates? Why didn't you just add speed on top of the damage?
Yeah, I would say one, as far as comparing damage to move speed, I think it's a pretty clear winner that move speed is a better stat and has more power than damage in our game. I think when we think about Necromancers in general, even across the game in general, we undervalued move speed as far as how strong it is. We knew it was strong and good, but we didn't realize just how important and almost one-dimensional move speed. If you have the option to teleport or move faster or get something quickly, that matters more than pretty much every other stat once you get to a point where you can kill things quickly. Right? So as far as why didn't we just add move speed on top of damage? Generally when it comes to our passives,
移動速度の方が割と重要なステータスだということを我々は知っていたけれども、でもここまで重要だったんだっていうところまでは
And I think moving quickly and
正しくは理解できていなかったと。
you move quickly to close distance, not
こ
to stay
れ
distant.
はネクロマンサーに対するネクロに対する話ですね。ここでの文脈は。
Damage back to the Necromancer in a more general way too, which we do.
Ways, but yes.
Yeah, we add damage in a bunch of different places. Damage is very easy to add, whereas move speed not so much. So we thought that the passive slot was a really good way because we really wanted just a generic passive. The Barbarian, I believe, also has one now that just gives you more move speed, so you can just go through the game better.
Yeah.
So we felt like it was just a better choice for the class, and I don't think that too many people are going to miss damage to distant as much because it's way more niche than something that's just generically strong like move speed. And if Necromancers need damage, we have a million places we can add them back. I'm not too worried about that.
Awesome. And you had mentioned even Necromancers are getting because a lot of these mid-season updates themselves are related to minions, and a lot more changes are even coming in Season 4. You had mentioned beforehand as well. So
yeah, I think it's important to maybe address the
ネク
other
ロ
part of
はシーズン4でもかなり大きなテこ入れが入ると。
So I think this is why we kind of resist the urge generally in mid-season patches to redesign things completely, because then it's kind of a crapshoot. Is it a buff? Is it a nerf? If it's a redesign and it could be seen poorly. We just feel like in this case, move speed is such a clear win that we were willing to do that. But we're open to the feedback, and if this is too risky to the players and they don't like that, then we're willing to bend on that. I think that's okay. We just felt like this was kind of an open and shut case.
Cool. Well, thank you guys very much for the insight and the info on the mid-season update, and of course Gauntlet. Again, thank you again to Macrobioboi and AnnacakeLive for joining us, and our three devs, John, Steven, and Liam, for jumping in and playing through. Again, Gauntlet is coming out with 133, which is our mid-season update. That will be hitting next Tuesday on March 5th, so players will be able to actually jump in, check out Gauntlet. We're really looking forward to seeing the feedback for the first couple weeks, and you know, letting us know, like, hey, are there any tweaks and stuff like that that you're doing
が、来週火曜日、水曜日の、3月6日ですかね、日本時間3月6日に公開される、予定だけれども、最初の、数週間はそれに対する、特に最初の数週間はそれに対するフィードバックをお待ちしていますと。
Just a reminder, Diablo IV is coming to Game Pass. Later this,
Diablo IV が Xbox のゲームパスに来るよ。
It is not March yet. Bamboozled. But it's coming later in
来月ですね。はい。来月というか今月かも。あれ？今月かな？はい。
Blizzard title on Game Pass. We're really excited about that. So, patch notes tomorrow. We'll see you guys then.
パッチノートは明日だよ。
There's actually a blog post up
で、こ
right
の
after
後
this
ブロ
stream
グポス
for
ト、
the Gauntlet, so make sure to check that out for all the
ガン
information
トレッ
related to
ト、
Gauntlet before next week.
試練場に関する、ブログポストをこの後公開する予定だよ。
Related to PTR and season 4.
それとあと、PTR とシーズン4に関するキャンプファイアチャットも、控えてますと。
To check out all the patch notes. So yeah.
Thank you.
はい。で、先ほど、パイピオーラがポロッと漏らしたことなんですけれども、ちょっと止めますね。パイピオーラが、ポロッと漏らしたこと一つ補足的に言っておくと、ガントレット試練場の、すいません、審判と言ったり、試練場と言ったり、審判に関する情報がないので、おそらく試練場イコールガントレットという、認識で、旧来の認識でどうやらいいっぽいので、まあ、とりあえずそれで、話していくと、それのリーダーボードですね。リーダーボードの、名前の欄を、クリックすると、そのビルドとか、使ってるスキルとか、パラゴンボードとかまでは見られないとか言ってたかな。必ずしも全ての情報が見られるわけではないけれども、スキルとか、装備とか見られるようになったけれども、まあ、するということだったんですけれども、確か前の、開発者アップデートの時は、スナップショットではなくって、クリアした時のスナップショットではなくって、現在の、クリックした時点での、装備とか、あるいはスキルを、が見られるようになるっていう話だったと思うんですけれども、それが、どうも変更になって、スナップショット的な形、つまりクリアした、時点での、スキル構成とか、あるいは装備構成とか、を、表示するように変更になった的なことをポロッと漏らしてたような気がするんですね。なので、この後のブログポストや、あるいは、明日のパッチノートですね。そのあたり、ちょっと要注目かもしれません。はい。スナップショットになるか、それとも、現時点での、見た時点での、装備、あるいは、スキル構成、になってるかで全然意味合いが変わってきますので、そこら辺は一つ注目したいところかなというふうに思っています。というわけで、時間が今5時25分、5時半になろうかというところになります。すいません。今日はなんかもうまくし立てる早口の人が多くて、で、あんなケーキもなんか、マイクのフィルターが結構独特な感じでボソボソと聞こえるような、独特のフィルター使ってたこともあって、結構聞き逃しが多かったかと思います。まあ、そんなわけで、ちょっと、漏れが多かったかもしれませんけれども、今日も、本日もご視聴ありがとうございました。 平日の早朝にもかかわらず、思った以上の方が、来ていただいて、大変ありがたく思っています。ぬるぬる大臣さん、初見です。ウーバー確率2倍は今回は来ないのでしょうかということですけれども、特に2倍になるとか、率を増やすとかいうような話は今回は言及ありませんでしたね。はい。ただ単に、ウーバーユニークの、ウーバーユニークを作成するための素材数が5つから4つに減らされるという話だけでした。はい。それだけになります。というわけで、本日の配信、以上のところ、ここまでにしたいと思っています。皆さん、朝から、ありがとうございました。ご視聴、ありがとうございます。それではまた次の配信でお会いしたいと思います。お疲れ様でした。